recently said that I think this month marked 30 years for your grandmother having been passed away. So can you tell me what your grandmother meant to your life, but also what her loss meant to you? Like what have you had to deal with because of that?
What she meant to me was her and my grandmother that raised me. And my grandmother that raised me was my maternal grandmother. And I love her to the moon and back. But the love that I have for my maternal grandmother is the same love that I have for my paternal. They never treated anyone different. You know, if you all needed to be corrected, you all got corrected. But when it was time to eat, we're going to feed y'all. Like, there was never any separation of the grandchildren. That's what I loved about her. She always gave. Always. She gave her last. And the love that she always had for me was genuinely felt. When she passed, the night she passed, I remember she called me, and she has never called me. And she called me and asked me if I could come down to the house. And she said, Pikey, can you stay at the house tonight with me? And I said, well, Mother, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, and, you know, we're going to take the babies and blah, 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 blah. But I promise you, I'm going to come over there in the morning. It was a pause, and she said, okay. And she told me that she loved me. We got off the phone. Now, my girlfriend lived on one end of the block, and my grandmother lived at the other one block from the other end of the block. And, well, I'll say the street. So I spent the night with my girlfriend, wake up that morning, and instead of going down the street to my grandmother's house, I caught a cab and went back home to my other grandmother's house. Showered, and I was headed over there after I came out of the shower, and I get a phone call, and it's my dad. And he is inconsolable. Now, as far as I know, this is the first death that I ever knew about. So him being inconsolable, I didn't connect the two. My uncle gets on the phone and he tells me what my dad was trying to tell me was that Mother was gone. And I just was numb because I had just talked to her the night before. And I was like, she can't be, I'm trying to process it, like, she can't be gone, because I told her I was coming over there today. Now, this is a 16-year-old girl trying to figure this out. In my head, she can't be gone, because I just talked to her. You can't just die like that. So he said, well, I'm sending Uncle so-and-so over to pick you up. So Uncle so-and-so came and picked me up, and I went to the house, and my grandmother has 10 children. So when we pull up to the house, it's a massive amount of people at the house. I went in the house and I went directly to her bedroom. Her bed was just, her covers were slightly pulled back. And she chewed days worth of chewing tobacco. So I went over and she had it wrapped in her little handkerchief, and I picked it up and smelled it. I don't remember anything else about that day. What happened with her death caused me to become this person who, if you ask me to do something, I got to do it. I got to do it. I can't not do it because you never know. So I went into this place of you never know. No one's promised tomorrow. So I didn't know that that's where I was because, I'm 16. Now at 45, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I made myself anxious because I'm trying to not have somebody die on my watch, if you will, to make light of it. But yeah, so it made me that person that doesn't procrastinate when it comes to friends, family, clients, So, but recently that all came to a screeching halt because I'm doing everything for everybody, and it was time for me to take care of myself.
That's a good outcome.
Great outcome.
So, with that, I want you to finish this sentence for me. One thing my grandmother's life taught me, then the last part of it is one thing her death taught me. What would you say?
Wow, that's heavy. One thing her life taught me is to be inclusive. Mother never left anybody out. Daughter-in-laws, son-in-laws, everyone was always welcome. She included everyone. The hard thing about that for me is, even though that's the takeaway that I would get from her life, her death put me in a space of excluding people. There's a situation around my grandmother's death that there's really no clarity. And I've never been able to get past that. For me, there's no closure. We don't have to go into it, but I became very distrustful of people on top of what was already going on with me. So